Barbershop Talk. We have Andre Crockett on as well. So hopefully he can send in some questions or say some things here. But thank you for tuning in to Barbershop Talk. This is our first satellite edition. We're up here in Minneapolis today with Dr. Reba Peoples and Dr. Sylvia Bartley, and we'll get into them here in a minute. But we want to thank you for tuning in. As Andre said earlier, thank you for the 250 plus likes that we have now. We just started in October 2018, and we're going and growing. And as we say, as Paul Wellstone said, we all do better when we all do better, and that's what Barbershop Talk is about. We're about the African American community, the at-risk community, the urban community, and all of our community, making it better down in South Minnesota for everyone. So, Dr. Peoples and Dr. Bartley, thank you for being here today. Amara, health and wellness. So we'll get into that, but before we do, as we do, we talk about elephants in the room, right? When we're in the barbershop or the beauty shop, right? Mm-hmm. We go at it and we just talk about the issues that are there. So let's talk about a couple of ladies. If you know, if you want to chime in, you can. If not, you know. First one is tonight we have Stephen Curry and LeBron James going at it. Are you guys going to watch the game tonight?
I will watch the game tomorrow at my friend's house.
Tomorrow at your friend's. Okay, so who you got? What do you think, Reba?
I have no plans to watch.
No plans to watch it?
No.
You'll see it tomorrow.
I'll see it tomorrow. I don't care who wins.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm English, so I'm a football.
Oh, that's right. The authentic, the real stuff.
But, you know, LeBron, he does some good things in our community. So
He does.
I'm for him and his team.
All right, great. There we go. So I'm going to go Curry tonight, hopefully. So Reba, watch it. You know what I'm saying? There might be some stuff that you can examine.
Right, I'll hear about it from
Sylvia. Yeah. The next one is Miss Henson. Okay, I got a couple of issues with Miss Henson, right? One, I'm going to admit I'm going to embarrass myself. How do you pronounce her first name correctly? Taraji? Taraji. Okay, I always goof it up. Okay, I'm admitting my problems there. Okay, but my real question is, she's an amazing actress, right? Can we agree on that?
Absolutely.
What is her best role?
Oh man, Empire.
Empire?
I love Cookie. I want to be like Cookie.
I like the computers.
Oh yeah, the computer. She's just good at everything.
Yeah.
I think this is an elephant in the room in our community. Mm-hmm. Her best role to date, and then she's an Oscar-winning actress, blah, 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 is Hustle and Flow.
Oh.
Gotta watch it. She was amazing in that role. Got nothing there.
She's good in everything.
That's my thought, that Hustle and Flow, she just went nuts in that role. And I know it was a stereotypical role, but she did well.
But she was great in writing Hidden Figures.
Yeah, that too. She's amazing. But she just got her Walk of Fame star, and
she deserves it.
Yeah, Taraji, come to the Barbershop Talk, South Minnesota. We know you're always here. Come to our show. We love you.
She started a foundation, a mental health foundation.
Oh, did she?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how apropos.
Exactly.
That is good. I'll have to look that up. So, Taraji, come on down, girl. We want to see you. All right. Our next issue is Black History Month. And kind of get a little serious on this one. Every time it comes around every February, you hear all kinds of discussions about should we have it, shouldn't we have it, why is it February, the shortest day of the shortest month of all the months in the year. What do you all think about Black History Month? Is it a good reminder? Or should it be every day? Or as maybe some people who don't even like it, we shouldn't have it. Americans or everybody, you know. We should celebrate America.
Well, I think until our true history actually is celebrated, we do need these reminders.
Right.
So I think, unfortunately, a good number of majority Americans and even African Americans have no idea about our history.
Exactly.
Our culture. So I think it's a great reminder, given the times that we're in.
Right.
So, you know, in the UK, we have Black History Month in October.
Okay.
It's a
really?
Month. And,
31 days.
31 days. I was going to say, however, you know, there is this discussion around, should it be 1 month of the year? Mm-hmm. Isn't it every day of the year?
Right.
But I don't think there's anything wrong in having a focus, increasing awareness,
right,
and just educating people that just don't normally get.
Right, I agree. I would agree too. We need the month. It helps us remind. It gets us, you know, all these things on my Facebook or on our Facebook about the different people throughout history. So I would agree with you. But some are saying, why, you know, it should be every day of the month. And then probably one of the bigger controversies this week, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Okay, Mr. Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia, apparently in his college yearbook, I suppose, had these pictures of one, a Ku Klux Klan member, and then blackface. And one of them is him. He hasn't admitted who it is. But I think he was 25 when this happened, and now he's the governor of Virginia. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And kind of bring in the Me Too stuff as well. And you all can slap me if you need to, right? And I'm not saying he should be forgiven, but when do we say, hey, he's 25. Psychology says that men don't mature until they're after 25, right? Somewhere around there, right?
At 25.
At 25. So he, when do we forgive? When do we say, hey, you're stupid and dumb, then, and as long as it's not in your policies and your current actions, by the way, he's a Democratic governor, we're cool, slap him on the hand. Is that cool or no? That's a major screw up. He needs to resign today and move on.
That's a major screw up. The man needs to be gone, and it's interesting. I got a strong feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's Black History Month, right? Let's educate ourselves on what the Ku Klux Klan did to African Americans.
Right.
They terrorized our community. They murdered, they hanged, and they lynched, and they did all sorts of things to our community. He felt it was appropriate, 25 or not, to put that page on his yearbook.
That is true.
Right, where he knew that will follow him.
Right.
And he's a pediatrician.
Mm-hmm.
So would you take your child to this man?
Oh, absolutely not. Oh, absolutely not.
Right. So and now he's the governor of Virginia, a controversial state in terms of
very
race.
Controversial, yeah.
The man needs to go. And the fact that he's saying he doesn't need to go, he's apologized, but he thinks he should still be there.
Right.
That's a kind of privilege I'm not.
That's a huge privilege.
I'm not happy with that.
Reba, what do you think? Oh.
I mean, I agree. I think that it kind of plays back to the previous slide about Black History Month. So I think when people really don't understand the full extent of the atrocities that have happened to people of color, they don't understand how serious these sorts of things are. So to people who don't understand, this is a joke.
Right.
But to us, I mean, whose grandparents were lynched and beaten and killed and terrorized at the hands of these sorts of organizations, this is not a joke. This isn't a laughing matter.
Right, and he needs to be vilified.
He needs to go.
He needs to go. And I think as of right now, he has not been dismissed or he has not resigned.
And anyway, I find that actually, I'm so emotional about that one because would you even question it if Hitler showed up?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
I wanted to be a governor where most Jewish people live.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I'm playing the devil's advocate, because many will say, well, dude, 25, come on. Everybody makes a mistake at 25, particularly a dude, because we're dumb, we're stupid, we do stuff up until 25, and then we get right.
That's not a mistake. Killing people hanging in
it's horrible. It's horrible. But I'm sure that's going to be part of the discussion. And it is a discussion, I know, particularly in public defender work, where we're dealing with the Me Too stuff, at least in our work, and we're trying to figure out, okay, yes, indeed, some bad stuff happened, but when do you move on, and how do you move on? And obviously, this guy needs to move on.
Did he serve time for killing people as a Ku Klux Klan man?
He did. That was some dumb stuff there. And
what did he do in that role, right? What role did he play to terrorize people? So moving on, was there any kind of punishment for his crime? No.
No, I doubt it.
So was he an actual Ku Klux Klan member, or was this like a party where he's dressing up?
I have no idea.
Yeah. He got some explaining to do, as we say. Well, hey, Barbershop Talk family, we are so blessed here today. If you haven't seen, I am absolutely giddy. A doctor to my right and a doctor to my left, Dr. Reba Peoples of Amara Health and Dr. Sylvia Bartley of Medtronic. And wow, I mean, you're talking about above my pay grade. It's just so awesome. But our discussion today, as we said, is on mental health. And we really want to talk about mental health, particularly in the African-American community or the African community, because it's still a stigma. We don't talk about it. We don't deal with it. And as Andre just put up right before our show, our director who started all this, and this was his brain trust, he himself has dealt with mental health. All of our communities have dealt with mental health, but we don't. We've grown up, I guess, with the idea you tough it out, you tough it through, or we don't have resources or what have you. So this is a great show on mental health. And I would like to ask both of you ladies, how did you get into the work that you're into?
So I think for me, I kind of stumbled into psychiatry. So I actually started medical school thinking that I would be a forensic pathologist. Until I did gross anatomy and realized why it's called gross.
It was 2 girls. 2 girls.
So I sort of shifted gears. And I think I was a little bit disillusioned with my clinical rotations just because there really wasn't much emphasis on prevention. So at least with psychiatry, it felt like, well, no one kind of does anything to make themselves get depression or anxiety. But I think that now that I've been in the field for longer, I do recognize that there are really quite a few things that we can do preventatively to help kind of prevent our risk of developing mental health issues. So.
How about you, Dr. Bartlett?
So I'm not in mental health as a profession, but I'm someone who's lives with depression, and not realizing that at an early age.
Right.
I think it just caused me to go inwards, and then always ask the question about path and purpose,
right,
as well as feeling very disconnected from this world that I'm living in. And so that was kind of my life story, and it just took me to a career path where I started my career in neurophysiology.
Wow.
And did research for 13 years in a medical school in London, and that research just opened my eyes to psychosomatic disorders.
Wow.
And movement disorders like Parkinson's, depression, epilepsy, schizophrenia. So that became, believe it or not, my love. So I really got into the science of that. Then I left the medical school and then ended up working in a medical device company.
Okay.
And working in Medtronic for now 17 years, 15 of which I worked for a firm called deep brain stimulation. And deep brain stimulation is where they put electrodes in the brain of approved targets for approved therapies. Right?
It's not the old school lobotomy, is it?
Not the old school
the new school lobotomy.
It's not new school anything. You're not taking anybody's parts of the brain. You're not damaging any parts of the brain. It's irreversible. It's reversible. I should say that. Lobotomies are irreversible. DBS is reversible. And so essentially, it's an approved FDA therapy for certain diseases in this country and around the world. However, the point is, it took me around the world to work with physicians. So my role was to be in the OR and train them how to use Medtronic technologies and best practice procedures for the surgery. And so that took me to the kind of cutting edge of scientific conferences, research, doctors around the world, around movement disorders. And one of the symptoms of Parkinson's disease is depression. And so there's lots of research around depression as well. So that one of the early symptoms of Parkinson's is you lose your smell and then early signs of depression before the kind of tremor and the symptoms set in. So knowing all the kind of physiology behind that and then the depression and the association with all these movement disorders got me really interested as a scientist and my experience in being a spiritual person to really look at the science behind it and look at the intersectionality between all three of those. And there is a common physiological pathway between spirituality, depression, and what's the other one? Neuroscience.
Wow. Wow, that is huge. In fact, Andre would be big on it. So neuroscience, you said there's a connection between spirituality, neuroscience,
and emotional health, depression.
Emotional health. Big. Wow, that's huge. So what is the state of mental health in the African American community? And as I work for the Public Defender Office, we deal with the impoverished and so on and so forth, and lots of issues there. I got a number of clients that I can speak to you about. Obviously, I won't. But what is the state of mental health and us really getting at the root of it in the African American community?
I mean, I'm actually very optimistic. I think that we are starting to erase a lot of the stigma around mental illness. We're talking about it more freely, more openly. I think that historically, African Americans do have higher rates of mental illness, and we also tend to be less likely to seek out treatment in spite of those higher rates. But we also have to think about how do we define treatment. So generally that's seeing a licensed professional like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or clinical social worker. But historically we've sought out community supports, we've sought out, religion, kinship networks, family, traditional healers. So there are many ways that we kind of have sort of been a very resilient people and have sought out help. But I think we've been very secretive about it historically. So I think now we are starting to be more open and really more willing to talk about it, which I think is is a step in the right direction.
That is, and so that resiliency that we've had as an African culture, given all the issues that we have dealt with, is that a good thing? Because I know that's if I can say, it's a barrier for us because, like, hey, I grew up with this, and this. Even getting back to, and we'll kind of get into the R. Kelly stuff. There's some resiliency there, but it does not excuse the mental health and obviously the aberrant behavior.
I agree. So I think that, at least in my practice, the focus is transcendence rather than resilience. So that term.
This is some good stuff. This is transcendence rather than resilience. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, because that term resilience, I mean, if you think about the Latin root, it means to return to an original state. So when we're teaching resilience, what we're teaching people is that they alone are kind of purely responsible for what's happening.
Right.
Or it excuses sort of the larger framework behind why people do what they do. So oftentimes behaviors that are considered pathological are really functional adaptations to dysfunctional environments and dysfunctional situations. So when we think about transcendence, we're thinking about how can we move beyond our current state rather than just sort of feeling like everything is okay as it is.
Right.
Which really isn't the answer.
Wow. So historical trauma, it's blown up, I would say maybe in the last 7 years, maybe. And we've often known it's been here, Dr. Joy DeGroy and her post-traumatic slave syndrome. A question that I have, since I always work with clients and helping them refer them to psychiatrists and the whole nine in reference to the criminal justice system is, and there are conferences, there are various discussions on it, why hasn't this, and pardon my ignorance if this is true, historical trauma reached the level of a DSM-5?
Well, I mean, I think it comes back to really not wanting to confront the reality of our history as a people. I think that it's easy to think that, well, slavery was in the past, we need to move on. Whereas if we really do recognize this kind of reality of generational trauma and how that impacts people, even at a sort of a DNA level, we also have to recognize that we're benefiting from that trauma in the present day. So I think to really recognize that means to kind of hold a mirror to oneself and hold oneself accountable rather than thinking that, oh, well, it's, those were my ancestors, those were things that were in the past, and it's not something that I need to be held accountable for. And even as African Americans, we benefit from colonialism. We benefit from the genocide of our people across, in the continent. So Africa is one of the richest continents on the planet, but it's being pillaged and raped for its resources. And living here, we're beneficiaries of that. So we also have to kind of recognize that when we talk about historical trauma and generational trauma.
Can I add one thing I love about science and being a scientist? The historical trauma. I mean, I'm sure many people listening, people have said to them, what does it matter? Slavery was hundreds of years ago. Can't you guys get over it and live in the now and stop making these weak excuses? But with science now, there's scientific evidence to show that our DNA is being adapted based on the experiences that we have, the stress and the trauma and basically the racism. And literally, they're called telomeres that are found on the chromosomes. Literally, there's short ones and long ones, and these get adapted for people that have lived oppressed lives, and therefore they're aged more. Right. So even though I could be 40, my genes are telling me that I'm not 40, by the way. Even though I could be 40, my genes are telling me that I'm 47 or 48. Wow. And so it has this impact on our being, and this is something that science has really proven. But it's interesting, and Reba, I read a paper the other day where some white scientists flipped it around and they didn't attribute it to racism, they attributed it to some other benefits which I can't remember now. So it's interesting how science is interpreted.
So hence the high blood pressure, the diabetes,
the diabetes,
heart conditions, all those different
and
things.
all of those things are the manifestation of the stress that we carry through, and we just tough it through. So is it a good thing that we tough it through? Absolutely not. That's why we have obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and all of those illnesses that we can purely manage by mindfulness and foods and healthy living.
And those changes aren't present in people who were raised in majority black countries.
Right.
So that's another interesting aspect. So kind of this telomere shortening is sort of specific to people of African descent living in non-African
Right.
majority countries.
So how do, particularly for South Minnesota, but Minnesota is it's very diverse, but it's not diverse like some of our southern states and so on and so forth, or our big metropolitan areas around the globe. Given the historical trauma and something you said, how do people find refuge? And I say that in this sense, particularly down south, and I'm assuming up here just a tad bit, although 80% of African Americans live up here, churches are not as strong for a place of refuge. Even the barbershop, more or less, is not the place of refuge. And other refuges we've had, if you will, over the years, where do African Americans, other than taking it on the chin and being resilient, where do they find community to not only get a psychiatrist, but to just keep it real and let it, so that we don't have the hypertension, the blood, all those different things.
And we have to create it.
Right.
And that's really kind of smart wellness is one of the things that sort of came about from that idea of, where can we go where our needs are validated,
Right.
our needs are really sort of centered.
Right.
So Smart Wellness is a program that it's a group format, so people come together and they kind of learn some of those modifiable lifestyle skills that they can use to transcend some of the traumas that we find ourselves living in.
So you do those Smart Wellness groups?
Yes.
Is that, and I told you I would continue to plug you on this, will you come down to Rochester and do it if we pay you good money?
Of course.
Yeah, we certainly need that. I'm interested that you're from Great Britain.
I am, yes.
And I'm stereotyping, right? But what communities, growing up in Great Britain, England, was it similar to America? The church was a community, the barbershop, or?
Yeah, it's much the same. It's just on a smaller scale. So I think wherever you got black people that are in the diaspora,
Right.
you get the same kind of communities being formed and the same challenges, right? So
Right.
whilst police officers don't carry guns out there and shootings isn't so high, we still have all of our issues
Right.
in the UK.
Right.
And so, and we were just there over the holidays, and we were having a conversation around the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
And you can just, it's the same conversation we have in America. So we have our communities, we have our beauty salons, we have the barbershop, the churches are very prevalent, but more so,
Right.
we have the clubs.
Right.
And what I love about Great Britain, right, no matter, so you've got the Caribbean, mainly Caribbean people living down there, right,
Right.
Jamaicans and other island people. But it doesn't matter, right? I would go to work, my professional job, switch off my work phone on a Friday night, switch on my personal phone, be in a club till 4 or 5 in the morning, and 6, 7, coming home at 9 sometimes in the morning.
Right.
And in the club you have the barber, the teacher, the lawyer, the judge, the doctor.
And the pastor that I won't say he's a pastor.
And the pastor won't say he's a pastor. Everybody
Right.
together in community.
Wow.
And that was one thing we did a lot, like every weekend. You'll find our people. Again, it doesn't matter who you are and what level you are. You're in a club listening to music and having
Oh, that's
community.
good. Now, I know there are more concentrated African and African Americans up here, but what are the communities up here? Do we have, I know there's churches or whatever, but are there good hubs of the village up here for folks?
Oh, of course. So we have the African American Leadership Forum, we have
That's
the
right.
Urban League,
We have I was at a mix and mingle last night by Nakimi Levy-Pounds and her husband.
Yes,
one
yes.
thing I love about the Twin Cities, even though people say there's not many black people here, there's a good centre community.
Yeah.
So you have your real strong, you have the NAACP, Minneapolis and St. Paul, you have the African American Leadership Forum, as Reba says, you have all of these groups that really are focused on how do we better our community, because as you said, if we make it better for us, we make it better for everybody.
Right, that's right.
And so there's lots of work around just addressing disparities around education, health, economic development, and just social and criminal justice, and our sense of well-being. And there's this bubbling up of organisations and individuals that are really focusing around trauma and mental health in the black community, which is so needed.
That is great. That is great. So as we think about mental health, historical trauma, all the good stuff, as you all do what you do, and certainly in the realm of mental health. And I ask this probably more in the sense of unity and healing. What are the key issues you're seeing with African American women and African American men?
I mean, I think the issues are somewhat similar, so they overlap certainly. Toxic stress is one of the big things that people find themselves dealing with, just sort of navigating a world where there may be a cultural mismatch.
Right.
And if you don't really have the language for that or don't understand what that's all about, you may feel that you're the one that's crazy.
Right.
When you do get into sort of some issues with coworkers or neighbors or those sorts of things. For women specifically, certainly sexual trauma is something that I think we're hearing more about, given the whole R. Kelly situation.
Right.
But men as well, I think that there's this issue about sexual trauma with men.
Oh, absolutely. I'm seeing that more in what I do.
Exactly. And R. Kelly himself was a victim of sexual violence.
And they haven't said that. They didn't say that on that show. Yeah. So how do you, particularly with men, particularly the trauma that they're growing up with, how do you help them? And my deal is always going to court as a social worker, assessing my client, and then looking for alternatives to prison. That's my whole deal. And in that, we'll get a neuropsych to do a test. We'll get a psychiatrist to do something, or a psychologist to be able to present to the court to say, hey, prison isn't the best, but maybe an alternative. But I'm finding myself, how do I explain historical trauma? All those different things that we're talking about today. How do we communicate that to an audience that, the DSM-5 is not recognizing the deep things you said, how do I do that? How do practitioners do that? And then obviously the community that we like to serve, the at-risk community, how do they find avenues to discuss, like, hey, I mean, not to excuse behavior, but I got a lot of trauma going on.
Right. And I think taking more of a holistic approach to wellness is one of the first steps. So at least in my practice, I think about wellness in terms of kind of 3 pillars. So the first pillar is really about lifestyle. So what is it that we're doing for ourselves to make sure that we're as healthy as possible? So that's where things like sleep and movement and having a relaxation practice and eating the right foods and really having a solid sense of identity come into play. The second pillar is more about biology. So is there anything physically going on that might be driving symptoms? So depression is a symptom. So we think of depression as a disease, but there are many things that could kind of underlie why people deal with depression. So the person could have a thyroid issue, they could have gut issues, they could have hormonal imbalances. So there are many things that we can look at to help sort of move people from depression, from that physical piece of things. And then the last pillar is really around spirituality. So those kind of deeper issues around identity, meaning, and purpose. And if people aren't living lives that are in alignment with their values, they can eat all the healthy foods that they want, they can take medications, but they're still going to be miserable. So kind of if any one of those pieces of the almost like a 3-legged stool, if one of those pieces is missing, the whole thing topples over.
Spirituality, identity.
So,
so
lifestyle, biology, and spirituality.
And I'm finding, and this is my hobby horse, or if you will, the identity piece to me is larger, because we will, in essence, get a client who has these issues, get them to an assessment, get them therapy. Maybe he or she goes to a treatment program. They get out, then they go back home, and the identity piece rears its ugly head, saying, wait a minute, you grew up doing this, selling drugs, or this lifestyle, and you're being white for pursuing a degree like you, or pursuing, or going to college, or being pro-social and positive. That's one of to me, my biggest challenge, at least with a lot of the disparities I deal with, tweaking that identity, and how do you do that? I mean,
I think we have to really know who we are as African people, as people of African descent. So kind of historically, people of African descent have come from a spiritual culture. So when you come from a spiritual culture and you're dropped into a materialist culture, materialism meaning kind of viewing things from the realm of the 5 senses. So if you can't see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, it doesn't exist. So this whole sort of scientific method of sort of viewing the world. Whereas as Africans, we don't believe in any separation between spirit and matter. So they're all connected.
That's good.
When you don't know when you don't understand that, you place your value on external things. So your value becomes getting money. Your value becomes having the nice house, having the nice ride, or whatever the case may be. But when you know who you are, you know that your sense of self is internal. Your value comes from simply being. So you know that your existence is your permission for joy.
Wow. Oh man, we gotta get
tweet
to
that one.
Yes.
Your existence give you permission for joy.
I told y'all this was going to be good. So Great Britain, right? Do they deal with the same similar identity issues like we do in America?
Absolutely, very much the same. And again, we're living in the diaspora. I think everyone that lives in the diaspora, we're born to self-hate, born a criminal, right? We're a minority, and we're told that we don't fit in, belong anywhere. And with Black Great Britons, it's difficult because people say, go back to your own country. And our parents are typically from the Caribbean. You go to the Caribbean, they're like, go back to England because you don't belong here. So we feel like we have this double identity crisis because we feel like we're in no man's land.
Right.
And I know with African Americans, they can link their lineage to slaves directly in America. We have to go through the Caribbean and then other places, and then it gets completely lost. So we absolutely have kind of like that identity crisis.
Wow.
Big time.
We
just feel like you don't belong.
Right. And that's good to know holistically. Yeah. Hey, Barbershop Talk, we've had Dr. Reba Peoples, psychiatrist, and Dr. Sylvia Bartley, neuroscientist. Thank you, ladies, for your wealth of wisdom. We're going to tap on that more. This speaks a wealth of who you are as people. And hopefully, as we think of our folks down in South Minnesota and up here and around our globe, mental health will be much more embraced because we've got some issues and we need to stop toughing it out. So
yeah, thank you for providing the platform to talk about it.
Yes,
thank you very much.
And for our audience, tap on these two for other things. We'll get their information up and there will be a resource to you. Barbershop Talk. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.